We're starting this morning in Damascus. After the intensity of the past couple of days, walking through the old city, witnessing Christmas celebrations, mosques, churches, and everyday life, we're heading north. Today's journey is different. It's heavier, and it's more fragmented, both geographically and emotionally. What struck me about Damascus was how visibly layered it is. Islamic, Christian, ancient, modern, all existing side by side. Today, we're going to see a very different cross-section of Syria. Not one city, but a sequence of places that tell very different stories. This is not a straight line. It's a journey through memory, faith, conflict, and survival. So we are at Sednaya prison, right outside of Damascus. This is where Bashar al-Assad held his political prisoners. Our first stop is Sednaya prison. There are places where history feels distant. This isn't one of them. Sednaya is one of the most notorious prisons in the Middle East. For years, it's been associated with detention, torture, and executions, particularly during the Syrian conflict, but also long before it. This isn't ancient history. This is recent, ongoing, raw. Standing here, there's a silence that feels intentional. The building itself doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. Its reputation does that for it. This is not a place you visit for understanding in the traditional sense. There are no plaques that make it easier, no neat explanations. Just the knowledge that behind these walls, countless lives were permanently altered or ended. Human atrocities beyond comprehension were committed here, a lot like the Holocaust. And a lot of these were just political prisoners, so they were held here for multiple years without trial. A lot of them were poisoned. During winter, the conditions were really harsh. So a lot of prisoners died just because of the cold. It's a very eerie feeling to be here. It's quite disgusting what human beings can do to human beings. Yeah, from Syria, from Sednaya prison. That is the old flag. This is the new flag, and hopefully this is the beginning of a new era.
And a lot of people left abroad, a lot of people were displaced inside, and a lot of people died, so we don't have official number.
On the media they said 30,000 prisoners could contain in this prison, but I think too much. We went inside, we see how many cells could contain, even if they are packed. 10,000 at most, 10,000.
Were there executions inside here as well?
Yeah. So we saw like a kind of a cement wall, and we saw an iron knot, kind of iron knot, and there were, like, when I went inside, I saw ropes. And eventually you will think this is the place where they assassinated people, and it made sense, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And you know what? We saw two kind of dress code or uniform, one orange, one red, and they say to us the orange one is the people who are sentenced to life, the red one the people who are sentenced to death. And I think this is for sure. Yeah, this kind of dress.
Do you know if the current regime is looking to reuse these prisons? Because
we have no idea.
Okay.
Still, they are using the documents here because we still have missing people. So still the case is open.
Okay.
They are still doing the investigation and so on. But there are someone official. He said that this will be turned into a museum at some point in the future.
Landmine.
We don't linger long, and we don't film much. Some places demand restraint. From Sednaya, we continue into the mountains towards Malula, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. Malula is one of the most extraordinary towns I've ever visited, not just in Syria, but anywhere. This is one of the very few places on earth where Western Aramaic is still spoken, a language with roots stretching back thousands of years. This is not symbolic Aramaic, this is living Aramaic, spoken in homes, in prayer, in daily life. We're now at the convent of Saints Sergius and Bacchus, one of the oldest Christian monasteries in the world. Kifak. That's all I know.
لا خلص امريكا اصلا بدك تعدي اعدادهم ما
بعدين
صباح الخير.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
هي عم بقول لك منورة رامي مريم لبنان يا الله ينعاد عليكم. وعليكم.
Bako
Okay,
kesavim
ready,
Hashem
Jimmy?
Adonai. Bako kesiti. Bako. Ut ashti. Habakolet kelahin kihel koseyeti mini. Aken lo keso. Lehueti lo keso. Elet heilukom. Ara in mahakihita. Et heilu denali dena. Kokveltiana af heilukom. Antu. Et heilukom.
This church is one of the oldest churches in the world. Literally the oldest church in the world. If you go back 2,000 years ago, Syria was under the control of the Roman Empire. The official religion of the Roman Empire was paganism. Yeah, it's almost like the Greek. Paganism. They had multi-gods. God of thunderstorm, God of rain, God of sun, God of moon, God of water, and so on. And during the Roman time, 2,000 years ago, Christianity was introduced. And it was this new religion that is inviting everybody to join Christianity. Everybody is allowed to join Christianity. The Roman Empire felt the threat of Christianity. So the Roman Empire started to persecute Christians, sometimes execute them. For the simple reason because they don't want to make division inside the society, but more importantly inside the army. This church is dedicated for two very important figures in Christianity, Sergius and Bacchus. And they were two officers in the Roman army. They are here, Sergius and Bacchus. They converted into Christianity. They were convinced into Christianity and they converted, but in secret. Back then, if you are Christian, you cannot really do it explicitly. You cannot really tell people I'm Christian. You hide it.
The stone here feels ancient in a way that's hard to describe. Not preserved, but lived in. Christianity here doesn't feel imported or defensive. It feels indigenous, embedded, as natural as the rock formations around it. What's important to understand is that Syria isn't just a place where religions exist. It's a place where they originated, evolved, and intertwined. I had the souvenir shop and I couldn't help myself. These are made of real gold. Okay, so there's a civilian plane, and if you can see, there are military planes or Air Force planes We don't know whose they are.
That's west.
We are south. We are south. Yeah.
When you see so many fighter jets in the air over here, it's something to worry about. Not far from here are the ruins of what was once the Safir Hotel. Before the war, this was a place of leisure. A place where people came to relax, to escape the heat, to gather. Today, it's a hollowed-out shell. Bombed, abandoned, frozen in time.
I imagine in this section, destroyed this place. I think they were meant to go to the main entrance. Maybe somebody resisted them because there are bullets, so they had to bump here. You can see this car has been there since the incident. They never removed it.
This used to be a 5-star hotel, and in 2013 it was bombed by militants. There's something especially unsettling about destroyed civilian spaces, hotels, schools, homes, because they're designed for normalcy. And when they're destroyed, you're forced to imagine what was interrupted. This is an ancient ruin. This is modern ruin, and it's uncomfortably close to places of worship and daily life. There's a school of thought that believes that the Assad regime kept this intact so that people saw what it meant to stand against the establishment. So today is going to be a heavy day. Damascus, barring Jobar, which was the town we saw yesterday, was for more or less not impacted as much. But as we go up north towards Aleppo, which is our destination for today, we're going to be crossing a lot of these areas which have been obliterated over the last 10-15 years. It is very heavy, and having coexisted in the Western world during this period, I remember what the news stories would read like back in the day, but none of it conveyed this magnitude of destruction and annihilation that we see here today. That's what the hotel would overlook. There's the town of Malula that we're standing over right now. That's the church that we just saw. The statue down there. The Sapphire Ambassador Hotel. This was a tennis court. No, wait, you're Mariam, right? Miriam, okay. Miriam is same as Mary?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a message you want to give to people who want to visit Syria? What do you want to tell them?
Syria is beautiful. And you can visit.
We're here, so that's proof that
Yeah.
it's fine. Awesome.
Some people think that it's a destroyed country,
Yep.
dangerous, but no.
Some of the sweetest people I've met over here.
Sorry.
Some of the best people I've met in my life were here.
Oh.
Like, they're so nice. Last night we were at a bar. We met these college kids. They're medical students. About 8-9 of them. They were so nice. They were so friendly. You know, we were chatting.
Syrians are so friendly.
They are.
As you say.
So you speak very good English. Where did you learn?
Nowhere.
Nowhere? Oh, wow. Self-taught?
Just from like
Very nice.
YouTube, Instagram.
So it wasn't you didn't study it in school?
We studied English in school, but not to the conversation or how to speak English.
So just read.
Just grammars,
Okay.
some vocabularies, but
Okay.
not too much.
But you speak
I
very
love
well.
the language. I love
Yeah.
to speak it. I love to speak with native peoples.
Yeah. So is Arabic your native language?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I enjoy to talk with people,
Uh-huh.
different countries, and everything.
Awesome. So which is one country you would want to visit?
Italy.
Italy? What do you like about it?
I don't know. I think it's just very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Okay. Inshallah, you'll go there.
Inshallah.
Pilgrimage. Antioch, the Syrian coast, and then they end up in Jerusalem, but they visit Sednaya and Maaloula. So this is part of the pilgrimage following the footsteps of Saint Thecla.
From here, we walk through a narrow passage carved between mountains. This path isn't just geological, it's legendary. According to Christian tradition, this is where Saint Thecla, a follower of Saint Paul, fled persecution. The mountain is said to have miraculously split to allow her to escape.
The two mountains fit together, right?
Yeah.
So they were split.
There's probably a tectonic plate here or something.
This is the scientific language, but I like the spiritual more.
Whether you see this as literal or symbolic almost doesn't matter. Because standing here, walking through this narrow corridor of stone, it's impossible not to think about escape, refuge, and faith under pressure. Stories like this are not abstract in Syria. They're tied to landscape, to geography, to survival. So these are lit up in the evening, I'm guessing. They're lamps.
Yeah, the lights.
Wow, look at that. Beautiful. At the end of this passage is the Monastery of St. Thecla.
Fairuz. You know Fairuz? Fairuz is a singer, Lebanese singer.
Oh, okay.
So he is doing some of her songs.
It's active, it's quiet, and it's deeply personal. At this monastery, history isn't just ancient, it's painfully recent. In 2013, a group of nuns from the Monastery of St. Thecla in Malula were kidnapped by armed fighters during intense clashes in the area. They were taken from this very place and held for months before eventually being released through negotiations.
They have received us well. We have been living happily. We have never felt sad. We've got everything we want. There was a guy always asked us what we need. We have stayed in a house looked like a palace. We were happy until last moment.
Their abduction shocked many, not because of who they were, but because it underscored how even centuries-old places of worship and quiet religious communities were pulled directly into the violence of the war. Standing here today, that memory still hangs heavily in the air. And then, when you talk to the nuns, you realize why only they are able to be messengers of the Chosen One. So that was one of the nuns who was kidnapped in 2013, and she's back here, committed and giving her life to God's work. That's her. This monastery has survived centuries of upheaval, Byzantine rule, Islamic caliphates, Ottoman administration, modern war, and yet it remains a place of prayer. What's striking here is not grandeur, it's continuity. Faith here doesn't feel performative, it feels practiced, carried forward quietly, generation after generation.
So we have Yeshua, Jesus, Yeshua in Arabic, Messiah, Masih.
So what's the difference between Yeshua and Isa? Is Isa Jesus too?
Yeah, Isa is Jesus, that's right. Yeah.
So just interchangeable.
Yeah, Yeshua is the equivalent of God. Yeshua. Jesus is Isa, that's right. So Isa is the equivalent Arabic of Jesus. Isa.
Musa is Moses.
Moses.
Would you say Jesus Christ? Is there a word for that?
Yeshua al-Masih. Jesus Christ, Yeshua al-Masih.
Isa Messiah.
Messiah.
Yeah.
Messiah. Yeah. So this shrine has been always there. There was a story that the king of Spain tried to take some relics of Saint Thecla, but they said that the moment he entered inside this room, he got blinded, he lost his vision, and then when he stepped outside, he got back his vision. So eventually he took some of the relics, and there is actually a shrine for Saint Thecla in Spain. But her main shrine is here. Feel free to light candle, feel free to donate, feel free also to have this thread. This thread is believed to fulfill your dreams. If you make a wish, and they will just rub it here on your waist, and then your dream will be fulfilled. You can't share your wish with anybody.
I'm already in Syria.
So you but you should wish to come back again.
Okay.
And also suckered the oil, so they will say some mantras on it, and then you can wipe your forehead also.
These are some of the most devoted and committed people, and what a beautiful experience being here underneath this tree, which goes back so many hundred years in history. I think you need to be blessed to be able to come to these kind of places, and I have the fortune and pleasure of sharing this with you. So here we are. Very pristine, almost untouched, and yet so ancient and old. This is the village from here. Hello, boys. Originally, we were supposed to go to Homs today, which is another city. But while we were on the road, we received news of a suicide bombing at a mosque in Homs.
Right, getting straight to some breaking news coming out of Syria. We've got reports coming through of an explosion which has hit a mosque in Syria's central province of Homs shortly after Friday prayers. All of this is coming out of state media. At least 3 people have been killed and 5 injured in the blast, according to that state media. Authorities say they're investigating the cause of the explosion.
And that's something you have to understand about traveling in Syria right now. Plans change, not because of inconvenience, but because of safety. So instead, we divert to Hama.
Starting route from Maaloula to Homs. Estimated time, 1 hour and 37 minutes, covering 113 kilometers. Changing destination to Hama. New route found. Travel north through the mountains, then follow the M5 toward Hama.
Hama feels different again. We are in the old city of Hama, and we're walking through the marketplace.
How are you?
Hello!
Hello!
This city is famous for its ancient wooden water wheels, the Norias, some of which date back nearly 1,000 years. They were once part of an advanced irrigation system, lifting water from the Orontes River into aqueducts. These massive wheels still turn today, creaking and groaning as they've done for centuries. Hama has its own difficult modern history, including brutal crackdowns in the 1980s.
In February 1982, the Syrian city of Hama witnessed one of the most brutal episodes in modern Middle Eastern history. Under the orders of President Hafez al-Assad, father of Bashar, the Syrian military killed thousands of civilians. Here's what happened.
Night and day artillery duels preceded the victorious advance on Damascus.
The roots of the massacre lay in growing tensions between the Assad regime, dominated by the Alawite minority, and the Sunni majority. The people of Syria had been actively resisting Assad's secular authoritarian rule since the 1970s. By the early 1980s, clashes between the regime and those opposed to him escalated into open conflict. Hama, a stronghold of resistance, became the epicenter of the fight. In February 1982, Assad decided to make an example of the city. The Syrian army, led by Hafez's brother Rafat al-Assad, surrounded Hama with tanks and artillery. Over the course of several weeks, indiscriminate bombardment and ground assaults reduced large parts of the city to rubble. Reports estimate that between 20,000 and 40,000 civilians were killed, including women and children. Entire neighborhoods were wiped out. Survivors described mass executions and other atrocities committed by the regime's forces. For decades, discussion of the Hama massacre was taboo in Syria. It was erased from official narratives, but its scars remained. The event symbolized the lengths to which the Assad regime would go to maintain power.
But here, history feels cyclical rather than linear. The Norias don't just erase the past, but they remind you that Syria's story didn't start in 2011, or 1982, or even 632. It started long before that.
And then it pushes the water wheel. The water wheel will have boxes on the side, so it will fill them down and then all the way throw them into the land.
Here, we found a tour guide, and we're recruiting him for Syrian tour guides. Hi. Hi.
So you can see inside. This man is documenting the old photos of Hama. Yeah.
تفضل تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
اهلا وسهلا تفضل.
Because I mean, if you visit Hama, you will never know any mark that relates to that hospital. So this man documents 20 حما قبل المجزرة.
هاي هي.
This is Hama before the massacre.
هاي بدأ 1952 لو صور فرنسي
1925.
هاي دمرت كلها ما تم منها غير النحور.
Yeah, it was entirely destroyed and only the water wheel is left.
هاي جزء منها بالأسود بالأبيض.
As we leave Hama and head towards Aleppo, the landscape opens up. Fields, villages, checkpoints, long stretches of quiet. For lunch, we stopped at a local eatery and they served us these interesting lamb homemade pizzas. I mean, they look like pizzas, but they're really flatbread. What I found most interesting was this thick buttermilk, which they call ayran, and it was really nice. This is the Syria most people never imagine. Not ruins, not headlines, just space. Time to reflect. This city has suffered enormously during the war. That's impossible to ignore. We reach Aleppo in the evening. Once a major commercial hub of the ancient world, Aleppo sat at the crossroads of the Silk Road. Traders from Europe, Central Asia, Persia, and Arabia passed through here. But arriving here at night, there's also life, movement, light. This isn't a conclusion, it's a transition. Tomorrow, we'll walk deeper into Aleppo's history. Over the last 2 days, we've gone from Damascus to Sednaya, from monasteries to ruins, from legends carved into mountains to modern tragedy that forces route changes in real time. What stands out isn't one narrative, it's multiplicity. Syria is not one story, not one religion, not one era. It's a mosaic of belief systems, languages, histories, and lived realities that coexist, sometimes uneasily, sometimes beautifully. This journey isn't about answers, it's about witnessing. If you like the content on this channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out.